And so I just want to invite Pieter to come and share his testimony and his experience of life encounter with you. And just while he's coming up, let me share a little bit about him. He is an attorney and a partner at a law firm here in East London. He is also one of our amazing sound engineers that serves on a Sunday. And he and his wife, Christy, have been part of the church now for the last 9 years, which is amazing and beautiful. So thank you for joining us this morning. So, Pieter, why don't you just share a bit about your background with us? Where did you come from spiritually, and what was your understanding of church and church life before you actually came to Shofar and Life Encounter?
So I grew up Afrikaans in a quite traditional church background. Raising a hand, even just one hand, was quite unusual. And clapping was, only when the dominee said you can clap. So quite different from coming here. So we came here in 2013, and the worship and the clapping and everything it's quite overwhelming and different from how I grew up.
I can imagine that must have been a huge adjustment for you guys. So, yeah, well, glad you stayed around and endured through the transition in the beginning. But why don't you just share a bit about your experience at Encounter One? How did you encounter God and what happened?
I'm quite an analytical person. It's all facts and figures. And coming to Encounter One of the things they share about is what the basis of the church's beliefs, and that opened up quite a bit for me. So one of the things is, as a child, I was sprinkled, and I wasn't aware of the importance of baptism, of choosing to take that step in obedience. So that was something that I learned. And then in the second part, they call people up for prayer, and I was standing at the back, and normally I would maybe slip out at the back when they asked someone to come up for prayer. But I decided to go forward and to be prayed for. And at the time, I still remember there was a fan on me, so there was no reason for me to feel any warmth. and it was just quite an experience, a real warmth and experience with the Holy Spirit. And for someone that's really analytical and really facts and figures and logical thinking, it was out of the box. It was something else.
I can imagine that must have been such a beautiful experience for you, just to actually encounter God that way, especially coming from the background you did and with your analytical mind. Tell me, we also touch on the Holy Spirit at the Life Encounter. Is this where you were baptized and were filled with the Holy Spirit?
Yes. So that was where I was baptized in the Holy Spirit, and then we were engaged at the time, and a few months after, we decided to also get baptized just before our wedding, our marriage. So that was quite special.
I can imagine. Wow. So there is no ways that you can attend an encounter like this and experience God the way that you did without there actually being fruit in your life and without your life changing. So how did your life change after you attended the Encounter One?
So I think one thing is that as a grounding for our marriage, and being baptized just before our wedding, it really set a certain basis for us to work off. Also coming to church and experiencing the Holy Spirit instead of just trying to think logically and think analytically and reading the Bible and trying to understand everything with your mind. It's a massive shift. It makes a big difference. Yes.
Sure. So it really led you into more of a spirit-led life.
It really did. Yes.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. We really appreciate it. Please give him a round of applause.